Hello, my name is Devin Van Dorp, and today I'm going to be giving a speech about the legacy of Led Zeppelin. And here's my audience.
Tyler Davis, 18.
Jesse Owens, 18.
Colin Stillman, 18.
Jed Garner, 18. Jackson Limbaugh, 18.
Caleb Pullman, 18.
Led Zeppelin is a very historic and impactful band because of their discography, the creation of their band, and their legacy to fans. Have you ever heard of that song that sings about a stairway to heaven for 7 minutes? Well, the people who wrote that song are Led Zeppelin, and I'm here to tell you about them today. Led Zeppelin is one of the oldest rock bands to date. They're a band I have been listening to my whole life. After my introduction, I'd like to talk about the creation of the band. Led Zeppelin was created in 1968. The band was originally called the New Yardbirds, and the lead guitarist Jimmy Page created the band after leading the famous British blues rock band, the Yardbirds. John Paul Jones, like Jimmy Page, came from a previous band, and he is also a veteran studio musician. I found all my research for this on Britannica.com. The vocalist Robert Plant and drummer John Bonham both came from a previous smaller band that they used to be in together. The band is heavily influenced by many different genres, which include early rock and roll, psychedelic rock, blues, folk, Indian, and Arabic music. And I got that information from DW.com on an article titled, How It All Began for Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was a band formed in 1968, and the members include Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Bonham, and John Paul Jones. Moving on from the creation of the band, I'd like to talk about their discography. Led Zeppelin has a very diverse discography. They first released their first two albums in 1969, and they were titled just after the band name, and the first album featured some famous tracks, which include Communication Breakdown, Good Times, Bad Times, and Dazed and Confused. And then their second album, which was released like 6 months later, was also just called Led Zeppelin 2. But their second album actually hit #1 on charts in both the UK and USA. And I got that information at thevogue.com. Led Zeppelin 4 was the band's best album and has sold over 37 million copies. And throughout the years, Led Zeppelin has released 9 albums over a 15-year span, with their last album being titled Coda in 1982. Their most played song is Stairway to Heaven, which clocks in at 7 minutes and 55 seconds, and they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995, and they received a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2005. Led Zeppelin's discography is very diverse by moving from early rock and roll to more experimental psychedelic rock and influences from many different genres, and they have went on to inspire millions with their music. While Led Zeppelin does have many great songs, I would say their biggest accomplishment is the impact on the way that they made their fans feel. Led Zeppelin was one of the most famous bands, and they are adored by many fans. The band performed their first tour to promote their first album throughout the UK, and within their first year, they completed 4 tours each in both the UK and USA, while still releasing their second album that year. In the 1970s, they were the biggest band in the world and had amassed millions of fans, and I got all this information at wikiwand.com. They had broken a record at Tampa Stadium, where they played to 56,800 fans, and that record was previously held by the Beatles. They also sold out 3 consecutive shows at Madison Square Garden, and they later turned it into a movie titled The Song Remains the Same. Eventually, the band would break up due to John Bonham's death, but they would go on to perform tribute shows throughout the years with John Bonham's son on the drums. Finally, Led Zeppelin is one of the most historic and well-known bands of all time. Led Zeppelin was best known for their unique blend of hard rock, blues, and folk music, which inspired countless musicians to explore new sounds and genres. With their influence on bands that came after them and their continued popularity, Led Zeppelin remains one of the best bands of all time. And always remember, a big dog can weigh a ton, and a 100-pound bag of flour will make a big biscuit.